Hey guys, Quackers Clocks here with another set of NFL predictions. This time it's week 18. So this is the last week of the regular season, and there's a lot of playoff implications here. So we're going to go through every single matchup here and determine, you know, what's best for the playoff scenario. I mean, there's a lot of implications for that number 7 seed in the AFC and the AFC South. So, and also the NFC South is still up for grabs. So, anyways, let's get in with the games here. The Pittsburgh Steelers take on the Baltimore Ravens. I am going to go with Baltimore here. They have nothing to play for. They clinched the number 1 seed in the AFC. They are 13-3. This will put them at 14-3. This would make them finish 14-3. And the Steelers, they finished 9-8. So, yeah, I don't think the Steelers make the playoffs, but they clinched a winning season. So, with their win over the Seahawks. So, but I am going with the Ravens. The Houston Texans take on the Indianapolis Colts. One of these teams is going to the playoffs, so the winner of this matchup clinches a playoff berth, clinches a wild card berth. Actually, no, because the AFC South is still up for grabs, so I am going with the Houston Texans to make the playoffs and finish the year 10-7, and the Colts 9-8. I am going with the Houston Texans. It could be anybody. It could be. I mean, both these teams are 9-7, so honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if the Texans make a deep run in the playoffs. But anyways, I'm going with the Texans over the Colts here. The Jacksonville Jaguars take on the Tennessee Titans. I am going with the Jaguars. This will clinch the division. All they need is a win here to clinch the AFC South. I mean, I don't think the Colts are winning it, and the Jaguars are not. I don't think they're losing to the Titans. Trevor Lawrence, this is a crucial game for Jacksonville in their playoff push. So the Jags will finish the year off 10-7, and the Titans 5-12. So this will put the Jaguars atop the AFC South. They'll clinch the division, and we'll get the number 4 seed in the AFC. The Chiefs have already clinched the number 3 seed, so they'll probably play the Houston Texans if all things go right. So the Minnesota Vikings take on the Detroit Lions. I am going with Detroit. They really have nothing to play for. I think they're locked into the number 3 seed, so they'll probably play the Rams next week. But we'll see coming up. We'll just see. But Minnesota is not eliminated yet. They're 7-9, and they're not eliminated. So this will put the Vikings at 7-10, and the Lions 12-5. They lost to the Dallas on a terrible play and terrible officiating. So I don't really understand that one. That really. Yeah, but I'm going with Detroit over Minnesota. This puts them at 12-5. They've already clinched the division and home field advantage. And as for the Vikings, they've already locked into the number 3 seed. So The Vikings are eliminated with this loss. So all right, so that I'm picking Detroit. The Atlanta Falcons take on the New Orleans Saints. I am going with New Orleans here. The only implication here for them to win the division is if Tampa Bay loses. If Tampa Bay loses to Carolina this weekend, then the Saints will win the division and they will clinch a playoff berth. But if the Saints win and the Bucks win, the Bucks actually clinch the division, and the Saints are I think, in hindsight, eliminated from the playoffs. And neither are the Atlanta Falcons, even though they're 7-9. They clinched a losing season already. So, but as for the Saints, I think they'll win here, but I don't think they win the division. We'll get to Buccaneers Panthers in a minute, but I think the Saints finish off 9-8, and the Falcons 7-10. The Falcons eliminated from playoff contention. The Falcons are not eliminated just yet, but I don't see them winning the NFC South. So I think it's going to be Tampa Bay's to win. The New York Jets take on the New England Patriots. Neither of these teams are making the playoffs. They have nothing to play for, but I am going with the Jets here. They have nothing to play for other than draft position. So this will put them at. I'm going to pick the Jets anyways, even though it's in New England. This will put the Patriots at 4-13. Finish the year off 4-13 with a top draft pick. But if the Commanders lose, I think they clinch the number 2 overall pick. So, because I think they own the tiebreaker over New England. And as for the Jets, they'll probably get a top 15 pick at 7-10. They'll probably. The Bears already clinched the number 1 overall pick. We'll just have to see who clinches the 2nd overall pick after this week's slate of games. It's probably going to be Washington because they played Dallas. So, all right. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take on the Carolina Panthers. I'm going with Tampa Bay. Despite Baker Mayfield dealing with a rib injury, this is a win-or-go-home scenario, because if they lose, if the Bucs lose, they are eliminated from the playoffs. The Panthers have already been eliminated for weeks, so. So, I'm actually going to pick Tampa Bay here. And they will win the NFC South. And they will play probably either Philly or Dallas, whoever wins that division. Because they're going to play either Philly or Dallas in the wild card. So, very likely it's going to be the Eagles. So, but I am going with the Bucs. They will be 9-8. The Panthers, they will be 2-15, and it'll be the league's worst record in the 17-game era. The worst record in the 17-game era, I think, is 3-14. Because the Chicago Bears went 3-14 in 2022, and they traded the first overall pick to Carolina. So, and then in 2021, the league's worst record went to Jacksonville. They went 3-14 as well. So the league's worst record in the 17 game era is 3-14. So, but the Panthers would make history with the loss. With a loss here, at 2-15. But the Buccaneers will be 8-9-8, and they will make the playoffs. They will clinch the NFC South. All they need to do is win, and it's an easy game too. The Panthers really have nothing. They can't really get any traction on offense. Bryce Young looks cooked, and it's just typical Panthers football. Panthers football is usually not that good, so I am going with the Buccaneers here. This puts them at 9-8. They will clinch the NFC South, and the Saints will be eliminated from playoff contention, even if they win over Atlanta. So, yeah. The Cleveland Browns take on the Cincinnati Bengals. This really is a nothing. This means absolutely nothing for the Browns. They clinched the playoff berth in Week 17 against the Jets. They are 11-5. The Bengals are 8-8, and they are eliminated from playoff contention. So they have nothing to play for. The Browns are locked into the number 5 seed in the AFC, and they'll probably play the winner of the AFC South, probably Jacksonville. So that'll probably be fun to watch in the wild card. As for the Bengals, they will finish the year. I'm picking the Browns here. As for the Bengals, they finish off the year 8-9, and the Browns, they finish the year 12-5. So it's in Cincinnati too, but I am going with Cleveland because they obviously are hosting a better team. Cincinnati was not really that good this year. The Chicago Bears take on the Green Bay Packers. I am going with the Packers here. This will help the Packers clinch a playoff berth. All they need to do is win. It's a win-and-in scenario for the Packers. And I think this will be easy considering that the Bears have been decent so far. They're 7-9, but they are eliminated from playoff contention. The Packers are going to finish the year off 9-8, and Jordan Love will be the first Packers quarterback to make the playoffs in his first year as starter. So, don't get me wrong, I like Justin Fields. It's just the Bears are kind of not that good. And they're probably going to keep Matt Eberflus around, even though his culture is just losing. As for the Packers, I think they win and they're in. This puts them at 9-8 and possibly the number 7 seed in the NFC. They'll probably play Dallas in the wild card round. So, because this next game is going to be for the division. So, but I am going with the Packers. They'll clinch a playoff berth. The Dallas Cowboys take on the Washington Commanders. I am picking Dallas. This means all Dallas has to do is win, and they clinch the NFC East. The NFC East is between Dallas and Philly. The NFC East has not had a repeat winner since 2004. So Dallas will win, and they will clinch the NFC East, and they will get the number 2 seed in the NFC, and they'll probably play the Green Bay Packers. So, actually, no, they'll if the that'll be they'll probably play the Packers or Rams depending on the outcome of Rams 49ers. So, but I am going with Dallas. This will be their third consecutive 12-5 season, and for the Commanders, this will put them at 4-13. So. The Denver Broncos take on the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm actually going with Denver here. Denver's been through a lot this season, and even though they're eliminated, both of these teams are eliminated, they can still play for draft position. And I think the Broncos will have like a mid-round pick coming into the draft. And I think it's Seattle's property, though. So, actually, no. They have their own first-round pick this year. So, but the Broncos will finish the year 9-8, and the Raiders, they will finish 7-10. The Raiders will probably find a new head coach this offseason. A lot of teams' off seasons start after this week, so but the Broncos will finish the year 9-8, and the Raiders, they will finish 7-10. So the Philadelphia Eagles take on the New York Giants. If the Eagles win, it won't matter. Dallas wins the division if they beat the Commanders. So even if they win, it will be a division championship for the Cowboys. As for the Giants, they are eliminated, so they have nothing to play for. The Eagles have a division to play for. The only implication if Dallas loses and Philly wins the division. If both teams win, Dallas wins the division. And if the Eagles lose and Dallas wins, Dallas also wins the division. So it's very likely that Dallas wins the division. So, but I am going with Philly. This puts them at 12-5. The Giants will be 5-12 after this. The Seattle Seahawks take on the Arizona Cardinals. I am going with Seattle here. I think I don't think Seattle makes the playoffs. The only way they make the playoffs is if Green Bay loses to the Bears, and some other team loses as well. They can only come into the playoffs as the number 7 seed, because 2 of the wild card spots have already been in. The 2 of the wild card spots are being held by Philly and the Rams right now. So, whoever wins that number 7 seed, they can only come into the playoffs as the number 7 seed. So, but a lot of things have to happen, especially Green Bay losing to the Bears. I think another NFC team also has to lose. I forget who it is. But I think it's New Orleans. But Seattle will probably be eliminated if New Orleans wins anyways. So it won't matter if they finish the year 9-8, but I am picking Seattle anyways. They will probably be eliminated because Green Bay is probably going to beat the Bears, and New Orleans is probably going to beat the Falcons, but that won't matter for either of those teams. They will both be eliminated with a win from Green Bay. So, yeah, the Cardinals will finish off the year with a top draft pick. This probably the third overall pick. And they also have Houston's first round pick as well. So they have 2 first round picks to play with. They'll probably go get some Drake May or not Caleb Williams. Probably maybe Michael Penix Jr. I don't know. But I am picking the Seahawks. They will finish the year 9-8, and they will be eliminated from playoff contention, according to my picks, because the Packers would clinch the number 7 seed in the NFC. So in hindsight, if Green Bay clinches the number 7 seed, both the Saints and the Seahawks are eliminated from playoff contention, even if they win. So, but if the only way the Saints make the playoffs at that point is if Tampa Bay loses to the Panthers, which I don't see happening. So the Saints, bye-bye. Saints are not in the playoffs. But I am going with the Seahawks over the Cardinals. The Los Angeles Rams take on the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers have nothing to play for. The Rams have playoff seeding to play for. If they lose to the 49ers, Green Bay will clinch. They lose to the 49ers, and Green Bay beats the Bears. The Green Bay Packers will clinch the number 6 seed, and they will play probably Detroit. If the Rams win, they will clinch the number 6 seed, and the Packers will be number 7. So, a lot of implications for the Rams. It's just for playoff seeding. As for the Niners, they've already clinched a first-round bye. They've clinched the number 1 seed in the NFC. They are 12-4. And the Rams are 9-7. They've already clinched a playoff berth. They just need Green Bay to win. They just need Green Bay. They need to win first. They'll probably be the number 7 seed anyways, because the Packers already have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Rams. So that's why the Packers would be number 6. So yeah, I'm picking the 49ers anyway. They'll be 13-4. The Rams 9-8. So that would put Green Bay at number 7. No, that would put Green Bay at number 6, and they'll play Detroit. And the Rams, they will play Dallas in the wild card. Well, that's just according to my predictions. The wild card will be completely different from my point of view. But anyways, the Kansas City Chiefs take on the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chiefs have nothing to play for. They've already locked into the number 3 seed. The Chiefs won the division last week against the Bengals. I'm surprised that the Chiefs actually won that game. So, because we usually double down on the Bengals. So, but this is against the Los Angeles Chargers. I think the Chiefs will win here. The Chargers couldn't even beat the Denver Broncos, who were eliminated. So this puts the Chargers at 5-12 and the Chiefs 11-6. This puts them into the number 3 spot. They will play the number 6 seed next week. This is the most crucial game this is game 272 of the regular season. The Buffalo Bills taking on the Miami Dolphins. This is for the division, for the AFC East and the number 2 seed. I think Buffalo was eliminated with a loss. This puts them at 10-7, and the Dolphins will clinch the AFC East and the number 2 seed. So there's a slight chance that Buffalo could actually sneak their way into the number 7 seed, even if they lose, based on my predictions. Because I think a lot of things have to happen in order for that number 7 seed to be clinched by some other team. But if the Bills lose, I think their playoff chances are very low. But there's some way that they can sneak into the postseason with this, even with a loss to the Dolphins. But I am picking Miami. They will clinch the AFC East. And they will get the number 2 seed in the AFC. At this point, a lot of the teams that clinch are just playing to keep their playoff seats, to better their playoff seeding. Even if it's number 6, they can still get it number 5, even though number 5 is probably going to be Philly. So, but I think there's a scenario where I think if the Colts lose and some other teams lose, Jacksonville wins and they win the division. So that won't matter for the number 7 seed. So I think the Colts have to lose to the Texans. Texans will clinch a playoff berth and probably the number 6 seed. The Steelers are still in it as well. I think the Steelers also have to lose so that the Bills have a higher chance. I think the Steelers have to lose. I think the Colts have to lose. I think there's another team that has to lose. There's a very complicated scenario regarding the Bills' playoff chances, but I have them as the number 7 seed at the moment, according to my predictions at least. So I think the Steelers have to lose. The Colts also have to lose. They can sneak their way into the playoff picture at 10-7. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm picking Miami. They'll clinch the AFC East and the number 2 seed. So, anyways, we'll see you guys next week when we cover Week 18 and the aftermath, and we will discuss the wild card round.